Good morning, guys. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Good morning.
Yep. Yeah, we can hear you.
All
All
right,
right.
welcome in Coach Chin Coleman. And Bob, we want to start us off, please.
Sure. Hey, Chin, how you doing?
Hey, Bob, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, I was wanting to ask you about uh Zavonimir. Hope I'm saying that right. You guys
Zavon,
obviously had
yes.
him. You guys obviously had him in Kentucky. You got him now. How'd you think he played the other night? Maybe how have you seen him progress from last year to right now?
He's trending in the right direction. You know, I always challenge Z. I think that Z could be better. I think that his best basketball is still ahead of him. And obviously we need him to mature. We need him to take on the responsibilities with honor that he's been given from our coach. Coach Cal has given him some huge responsibilities in terms of being a connector, being a guy that touches the basketball, being a guy that we're trusting to handle the ball in our 5 out actions. And with that comes a privilege. With that comes honor, right? You have to cherish that, and you have to be respectable of that, and you have to make the right plays. So we 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 think that Z is one of those unique players at 7'2" with size, skill. He's where the game is going right now. If you see where the game is going, it's all about size and skill. Or guys with size that have guard skills, and he's 7'2", and he has a lot of guard skills. I think he had 4 assists, if I'm not mistaken. He's a guy that can dribble, pass, shoot, and those are the kind of players that uh, we want in our offense in terms of being able to be a triple threat. So I like the start of where Z was at, but I'm not as pleased because I think that there's a lot more. I think that defensively he can do a lot more. I think he can do a lot more rebounding. I think that he can get in and out of screens and get to the second action quicker, and he can look more like the big time basketball player he is. I watched film with him the other day, and I watched film with him of a kid, Simonis, that plays for Sacramento. And in that film, I wanted him to see how quick this guy is into actions and how quick he gets out of stuff and gets into stuff, how he hits every single time. And he's always thinking about the next play, the next play, the next play. And that's what makes him an all-star. And I'm not saying Z is Sabonis, but there is some Sabonis-like skills in his game. And we just want Z to be the best version of himself. And he's trending in that direction.
Is there something in particular you'd like to see him do against TCU, or just keep getting better?
Keep getting better. It's another step of a long journey, and we want to obviously be better than we was the first game. And there's some things he can clean up in terms of his ball handling. He can get a little lower. We always tell him the low man win, and we want him to be 7'2", but play at 6'5", not play at 7'2". So the lower the better for Z. I want him to obviously rebound better, protect the rim better. There's so much more he has that we want to try to pull out of.
Thanks. I might have a couple more. I'll turn it back to Mike. Thanks.
Anthony.
Hey, Chin, hope you're doing well. I guess just the first question would be, where's Jonas at? You expect him to play on Friday, and if not, just kind of what do you kind of expect him to bring when he is available to play?
I think that that's up to our medical staff. He's working extremely hard to get back on the floor, to get back to playing the game he loves. It's something that he said to me yesterday. Uh, he had a workout yesterday, looked a lot better. I think he's coming along, but I think that our goal is for everybody to be healthy by our first game, right? Um, these games are very important because they're opportunities for us to play against a different opponent, and we would love to have everybody fully healthy right now. But I think that the main thing is for everyone to be healthy by the beginning of the real regular season, and that may or may not happen. But I think we're close, and I think he's chomping at the bit to try to be available for us at the beginning of the season. But I think that he's close. But our medical staff, Matt and the doctors, are doing a really good job of strength conditioning coach D-Rich, they're working extremely hard to get them and have them available.
And then speaking on Boogie and DJ, especially when they were sharing the floor together, they worked really well. I think DJ looked pretty good in the kind of in a non or an off ball role. Just how much have you kind of worked with him in that kind of role, and how have you kind of seen those two kind of develop together?
Well, I think that for practicing with five guys for a long period of time, those five guys got to really know each other really well. And DJ and Boogie got to play off of each other and learn each other and learn how to play off of one another really well during that time. So I think that that time didn't necessarily hurt us that we didn't have the other guys. It helped us in some ways. And one of those ways was that we were able to put those guys on the floor and they were able to get a huge amount of reps together in terms of what we want to do, how we want to play. And so you saw the byproduct of that in that game in terms of how we looked in practice with just those five guys. We were able to get some out of that because we have our player development staff with our GAs are able to give us a great look in terms of not obviously a high level college game, but they were able to give us a good look, and those guys were able to compete against them and kind of play off of each other. And DJ is a really good player. So DJ was just DJ. Um, we know DJ, and so we've had him before. So that didn't surprise us. I think that Boogie is new to everybody else. Nothing he did surprised us as a staff, as our program, because we see these guys every day, and we work with these guys every day, and we train these guys every day. So
Jackson.
Yeah, my question is very similar to what Anthony just asked, Coach. Is Boogie at point guard and DJ at shooting guard? Like, I mean, is that something that we're trying that out again with in Boogie's first game, and how much can those two kind of flip between those roles?
a lot of our parts are interchangeable. So from Boogie to DJ, they're both the same kind of parts, and as well as Adu when he's out on the floor, as well as Nelly. We challenge our guys that if you want to be the point guard, stick your nose in there and rebound, and then you can initiate the offense in terms of hit aheads, in terms of pushing, in terms of getting the drag, in terms of getting us in our secondary level of offense. So if you want to be that person and rebound, I think that all of our perimeter guys are pretty much all the same. So the fact that you're saying that Boogie is a point guard, DJ is a point guard, we like to say that we have playmakers on the floor, and it's not necessarily uh, labeled by who brings the ball up, because sometimes you're going to see bring the ball up, and then does that mean that Z at 7'2" is our point guard? No, that means that Z is a playmaker, and the more playmakers you have on the floor, the better you are. We last year had a bunch of playmakers at our last place. We averaged about 20 points a game. We scored 100 points, I think 7 times a game. And when the ball moves, right, there's energy on the ball and there's ball movement, player movement. You're going to get good shots, but you can't do that if you don't have multiple guys on the floor that can make plays, multiple guys on the floor that can dribble, pass, and shoot. And so that's what we want to put on the floor, whether it's 1 through 5. I don't know who the point guard is. It depends on who brings the ball up, who rebounds it, who making the plays. And we have several guys that can do that.
I know it might have been forced because of Jonas's injury, but you guys played a lot of quote small lineups, I guess, against Kansas with only one real big guy in there. Just what do you think of those sets, and how much, can that maybe be an X factor in the regular season?
I think that we're big. So when you say small lineups, it depends on, we play positionless. So maybe the way you're looking at it, Jackson, is we play small, but for us, because we play positionless, we're not small. If you have DJ and Boogie at the floor, you got 6'3", 6'4". If you got, let's say, if you got Carter on the floor, you got Billy on the floor, that's 6'6", 6'7", and then you got 7'2". So we feel like that's a pretty big team, right? A little bit different than what we had last year. We had some smaller guards that put us in some different situations in terms of switches and small sizes and what we can do in terms of our defensive schematics, twirling, which means switching. Then we have to scram, which means that if we switch a guard on the big, then we got to switch a wing on that big so that we can get back to bigger guys. But we have a team right now that we like the size of our guys. So we can play TB at the 4, we can play TB at the 5. Again, that's that positionless thing we keep talking about. We got multiple positionless kind of guys. We can play Z, of course, at the 5. Z has 4 skills. Jonas, of course, when he comes back, his whole campaign until he's able to play has been to be more of a guard and be able to play out on the floor and do the things that we do as a team, opposed to what he did at Tennessee, where he ducked in the whole time. He was on the block, right? And he didn't play out on the floor as much as he would have liked to. He did some, but we've kind of tried to expand his game. So again, we want to have more skilled guys on the floor, whether you're 6'9", 7 feet, 7'2" to 6'3". The more skilled guys, the better.
Thanks, Coach.
But
Yeah, Coach, you brought up Nelly there for a second. I'm curious how much of his performance the other night was maybe just him knocking the rust off, having, been out with the injury, and how did he handle, body language and everything like that, despite, maybe not scoring as much as he probably would have liked.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. If you noticed, Nelly is a veteran guy, and he was an example of what we want our young guys to be and to do on the defensive end. He made some defensive plays. He stuck his nose in there. He got some rebounds. He got some crackdowns. He protected the nail. He got a steal at the nail. He rotated over baseline drive, like things that we teach every day. We were able to put together a collage of film of him just being in the right position, making the right plays. So although he may not have shot the ball as well as we know he's capable of doing, or scored the ball as well as he's capable of doing, because again, that was rust. He only practiced the 2 non-contact days before the game. So there was a lot of rust. He hadn't been out before. He hadn't played. He's been out. We only had 5 guys. So that was rust in terms of offensive. But what he was able to hang his hat on for us in that game was his defensive presence. And he said it on the bench. I'm not worried about scoring. I don't care about scoring. I'm just trying to make sure I do everything I'm supposed to do to help us on the other end. The scoring will come. He said that himself on the bench. So when you got guys thinking that way, you're going to have a special team.
And I'm wondering about these exhibition games, the Kansas one and the one coming up against TCU. How do y'all approach them as a staff? Do you treat it like a real game when it comes to preparation and like scouting the opponent, or is it more inward looking, focused on you? Just how do y'all approach those?
Absolutely. I mean, anytime you play against another team, we want to use those experiences as a real game. So this one for us, although we know that this is a big time rivalry, TCU played obviously in the Southwest Conference from when obviously Arkansas first started playing basketball. So we're looking at that as a rivalry game. We understand the importance of, we're going to Dallas. A huge amount of our alumni lives in Dallas, to give them opportunity to see the team, as well as we took the team to Pine Bluff, we took the team to Hot Springs, and now we're taking the team to one area where we have a huge alumni. But for us, basketball wise, it's a road game. So our routine as a road game, we're going to follow our routine. So they're going to understand what it looks like and what we do. What are our routine? What is our habits, right? So that they can understand the next time we come back to Dallas on a road and we play Baylor, we have a routine. You know what it is we do. You know what time we film. You know what time we eat. You know what time the late night snack. You know what time stretch is. You know what time weight is. You know what time all of these things are. So we're using it as experience for roadkill, is what we like to call it. Roadkill.
Daniel.
Hi, Coach. I'm wondering for the rest of the staff, you've been, familiar with most of the team, but TB was someone that you weren't able to work with prior to your time here. Just maybe what has surprised you, or, how you've seen him develop throughout the fall.
Unbelievable talent. Got a lot of tools to work with. 6'10", he's long, he's athletic, very skilled. Our job for TV, in terms of our staff, was to make TB the best version of himself with what we do. We train a lot of individual work. We put a lot of love into these guys' game, and the way we spell love is time, Time. We put a lot of love into their game, and we've kind of poured into TB. He's a lot tougher. He's not shying away from bumps, because this is a bump game, and so you got to be able to win the bump war. So TB is he's embraced us. We've embraced him. We love where he's at. We love what he brings to the table. He's a perfect addition for our team in terms of having another skilled 4 guy that can dribble, pass, shoot, He fits so well with us, and so we're excited about him. And he as well is getting. He got to get in better shape. He's been out too. So as quickly as these guys are able to come back and be full strength, we like our opportunity, we like our team, and we like the guys in our locker room. And he's at the top of that because he's a lot better than what we thought. And so he's going to be a big, huge addition for us.
Bob, wrap us up,
Appreciate it,
please.
Coach.
Okay. Jen, I read in the Fort Worth paper that TCU got beat pretty decisively by Texas and San Antonio. I think I read it was 80-52, one of those secret scrimmages, I guess, where the score got out. I don't know if you guys got a bootleg tape of the game, but your game was on TV, so they obviously can scout y'all. And I know, like Trezarian White, he played against Kentucky, played against Arkansas too. I mean, what would you say about their personnel, or kind of what's your take on TCU? What kind
A
of
brand new team to start. They got a brand new team, like we have a brand new team. Um, they only returned probably one player, I think, and that's Uday. I hope I'm not botching his name, and he was a transfer from Kansas, and everybody else is pretty much new from a team that had 5 fifth-year seniors last year that went to the NCAA tournament. So they're new, but again, we don't take anything for granted in terms of how they performed in their first game, right? They're going to be better in their first game against us, being that it's their second game. And also, again, you're right. They watched us on film. So they saw what we were able to do with the number one team in the country. We played well with them. Whether you say we won or lost, we competed. And that's what we want to do is compete and get better from game to game. And so we were able to get better from our game. I'm sure they were able to get better from their game against Texas. We have been able to do some advanced scouting. So we have some material that we're going to use to put a game plan together for them. And for us, again, we want to win every game. We're not doing this for funsies, but we also want to win or learn, right? And so if we get the opportunity to play TCU and we can win and or learn, well, we've done our job going up there to play TCU in Dallas.
And say White's a guy you all personally played, and he had a heck of a game against Arkansas too, if I recall. Just what do you think about him as a player, having faced him last year?
Really good. I thought that he's a really good player. He had it going against us. I'm not sure how he played against Arkansas last year. He had a good game against Kentucky last year. So he's someone that's on the top of our scouting report because we've seen him, right? We've seen him do it before against us. He's a undersized wing forward who's very athletic, capable 3-point shooter, really good driver, just a good player. And so we know what he did against us, and our challenge is for that to not happen again. And there's guys in our locker room that are already talking about that because they know what he did against Kentucky last year. So we want to make sure that he doesn't do that against us in that game. But we got to do a good job on everybody. We don't know him, so we guarding everybody honestly as a good player. We're not taking anybody for granted. We want to make sure that we are connected defensively, that we know what our scheme is, that we know what our rules and our principles are, and we want to stick to those unless we have to change them in the game.
And then obviously y'all beat Kansas by 16 or whatever it was. I know they weren't full speed. You guys didn't have Jonas, but what do you take away from that game? And then what as a team, what are you looking to do in this second one? Anything in particular?
Hopefully, they're a really good team, right? They were without their All-American Player of the Year candidate, 5-man. We were we weren't healthy. We had a small percentage of Adu, a small percentage of TV, a small percentage of Nelly. Although they had two other players that we've played against. We played against Rylan Griffith. We played against Shaquille Moore. So we were pretty familiar with their group. I think that what we take from that is that we were organized. We played hard. We did some things that we practiced. We did some things that we wanted to do in our scouting and our schemes. So those are wins for us in that game. All right. Offensively, we could have shot the ball better from three. We could have taken better shots from three. And then we got tired at the end. In the fourth quarter, we were dead. And so we kind of let go the rope a little bit and gave them a little opportunity to kind of claw back into the lead that we had created. But we want to be able to finish our games. Of course, that's something that we're going to take from that game, and to continue to get better in our schemes, to continue to get better in what our rules and our principles are. And offensively, we think that we can put together a better game in terms of the way we share the basketball, how well the ball moves, and how well we shoot the ball, getting open shots off the paint touches. So there's a lot for us. We didn't rebound the ball well way we needed to. They got 50-50 balls, loose balls. They scored on offensive rebounds. Like, those are things that we are not going to, that's not going to be our team. Our team is going to be built on toughness. Our team is going to be built on being first to the floor, getting every loose ball, getting 40% of our misses back. That's what we do. That's who we are. So we got a lot to work on. We got a long way to go, Bob.
If I could ask you something about the staff, obviously you guys are very familiar with each other. You're all together in Lexington. Now you're together in Fayetteville. How good is that to kind of have the old, crew back together, the usual suspects, whatever you want to say. And
Yeah.
and you got Kenny back, and Cal, talks very highly of him. Well, what do you think about having the staff together again, just a different place? And
It's
then, yeah.
It's La Familia. You want La Familia on the court, La Familia off the court. Like, in terms of the players, you want them to have a good locker room, good cohesiveness. You want them to love each other, play for one another. And I think that that's Coach Cal's deal. Like, we have to add value. We have to love each other. We have to have chemistry amongst our staff. You can't want chemistry amongst your players if you don't have chemistry amongst your staff. Us being together, knowing each other, us respecting each other, us operating as a family like brothers, it helps because there's no egos. We all play off one another. We all help each other in different areas. Where I'm weak at, someone else is stronger. Where I'm stronger at, someone else may need a little help. So we all kind of feed off each other energy, and we use that so that we can be our best version for our players. We just want to do what we need to do for our players. It's a thing, and I'll leave you guys with this, that Coach Cal always says that it's so important. Say that we got a team that's listening. So if they're listening, we better be saying the right things, because our team listens. They're attentive to us. They follow our lead. So we better be saying the right things. So as a staff, we make sure collectively that we're saying and doing, and we're working on the right stuff so that our players could be put in the best position they can to win.
Okay, so about Kenny too, what having him back means, because he was obviously at Louisville and he was in the NBA for a while. What does Kenny bring to the table for y'all?
There really is no words that can describe having KP back. It's what we call him. He's so experienced from the college level, the NBA level, coming back to college, and what he's seen, what he's done, and his whole breathing, right? His whole existence is, how does he help these players? How does he help these players get better day after day? Not only from on the court, right? But in between the ears. It's different, man. You have to have people on your staff that's been through some stuff to get to some stuff, right? You got to go through some stuff to get some stuff. And so we have an experienced staff that has pretty much been through everything. And Kenny has been at the top of the mountain and all of this stuff, so to speak. And so he's just pouring into us as assistant coaches, as on the right and left of him, and also the players. So he is invaluable. He's been great for us, and I learn something from him every day.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.